Hey there, folks. It's Mark Warsh coming at you with a show full of hard-hitting news and hilarious commentary. Now, let's get down to business. First up, Democrats in Las Vegas want to restrict water use in single-family homes. What kind of drought is this? I guess they've never heard the saying, when life gives you lemons, just add more water. Next, President Joe Biden approves a massive oil drilling project but claims he wants to tackle climate change. Well, if that isn't the definition of drilling for oil and burning bridges, then I don't know what is. Thirdly, illegal migrants flooding our southern border. You'd think if they're trying to enter America illegally, they'd at least have the courtesy to knock first. And finally, a test question equating politics with race and gender on an AP government exam. That's an example of liberal indoctrination if I've ever seen one. If they're going to teach kids about politics, why not start by teaching them how it works? Like introducing them to Congress or the Senate, or maybe even Monopoly. This here is Mark Warsh bringing you the scoop on the latest government scheme to control our lives. The Democrats are at it again, trying to restrict water use in Las Vegas because of their so-called climate change agenda. They claim it's a worst-case scenario plan, but we all know that's just code for government overreach. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't conserve water. It's a precious resource, and we should all do our part. But when the government starts telling us how much water we can use in our own homes, that's when we need to start asking questions. According to the news article, the Southern Nevada Water Authority wants to cap residential water use in single-family homes to 160,000 gallons per year. That might sound like a lot, but for families who live in the desert, it's not enough. And who's to say that the government won't lower that limit even further in the future? The article also mentions that ornamental lawns are already banned in Las Vegas and the size of new swimming pools is capped. What's next? Government-approved landscaping? It's ridiculous. Democratic Assemblyman Howard Watts of Las Vegas, one of the bill's sponsors, says it's about prioritizing the must-haves for a home. Well, I hate to break it to him, but water is a must-have. And if the government starts rationing it, we're all in trouble. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Mark, what about the drought? Don't we need to conserve water? And yes, that's a valid point. But instead of government mandates, how about we encourage voluntary conservation efforts? Let's educate people on how to use water more efficiently and offer incentives for those who do. At the end of the day, this is just another example of the government trying to control every aspect of our lives. We need to stand up for our freedom and push back against these overreaching policies. In the wise words of Benjamin Franklin, they who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Let's not sacrifice our freedom for the sake of government control. In recent news, top Democratic lawmakers, including Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have criticized President Joe Biden for approving a massive oil drilling project going against his supposed climate promises. According to Fox News, the project has been approved for the next 30 years, leading many to believe that this goes against the president's promises to tackle climate change. Ocasio-Cortez and other Democrats have expressed disappointment in President Biden's actions, stating that he has betrayed his commitment to the environment. This criticism comes after the Biden administration has been trying to promote its green energy agenda, stating that it aims to make the United States carbon neutral by 2050. This recent development has raised concerns about whether or not the Biden administration is truly committed to combating climate change or if they are merely paying lip service to the issue. The decision to approve the oil drilling project has been seen as a major setback in the fight against climate change and has left many environmentalists and activists feeling disheartened. The approval of this project also goes against recent scientific reports that highlight the urgent need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to limit the catastrophic effects of climate change. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has warned that the Earth is on a path to catastrophic warming unless immediate and sustained action is taken. It remains to be seen whether the Biden administration will take this criticism to heart and take steps to address the concerns of environmentalists and activists. This incident highlights the challenges of trying to balance economic development with environmental protection and underscores the importance of making meaningful progress in tackling climate change. As a concerned citizen of the United States, I cannot help but express my frustration and disbelief at the recent events taking place at our southern border. According to a news report by Fox News, Texas lawmakers are reacting to what they are calling a full-blown invasion of migrants at the El Paso border. The surge in migration is allegedly a direct result of President Biden's policies, which have been criticized by lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. While the president and his supporters argue that the policies are necessary to provide a better life for those seeking refuge in the United States, critics claim that they are only exacerbating the problem and putting American citizens at risk. One particularly alarming detail from the news report is the admission by the El Paso shooter, Patrick Crusius, that he was targeting Mexicans. This revelation only adds to the already tense and volatile situation at the border and raises serious concerns about the safety and security of those trying to enter the United States. Furthermore, recent events have seen a group of at least 1,000 mainly Venezuelan illegal migrants rush the Paso del Norte bridge, prompting lawmakers to question how such a rush could go unnoticed by the president. It's clear that something needs to be done to address this situation before it spirals even further out of control. While the issue of migration is a complex and multifaceted one, it is imperative that our lawmakers and government officials prioritize the safety and well-being of American citizens first and foremost. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye to the very real dangers and risks posed by illegal immigration, and we must take swift action to address this issue once and for all. In conclusion, the situation at the El Paso border is a cause for great concern and requires immediate attention and action from our elected officials. We cannot afford to ignore the realities of illegal immigration and the threats it poses to our country and its citizens. It's time for our leaders to step up and do what's right for the United States. Well, it looks like we have yet another example of the liberal education system pushing their agenda onto our kids. Virginia's largest school district, Fairfax County Public Schools, FCPS, is facing backlash after they included an inappropriate test question on an AP government exam. The question equated politics to race and gender, and even worse, it was given to high school seniors who are already bombarded with so much propaganda. The question asked students to choose an accurate comparison of liberals versus conservatives, and the answer choices were ridiculous. According to Fox News, the answer choices were conservatives are like older people, while liberals are like younger people, and conservatives are like Caucasian people, while liberals are like African American people. What kind of nonsense is that? This kind of divisive rhetoric has no place in our schools. It's not just me who's outraged. Concerned parents are speaking out too. One parent said, regardless of your politics, you should be furious with the nature of the question. And they're right. This kind of stereotyping is harmful and doesn't reflect the diverse beliefs and backgrounds of Americans. FCPS has since pulled the question and released a statement accepting responsibility for the mistake. But let's be real, if they hadn't been caught, they would have let this slide. It's just another example of the liberal agenda trying to indoctrinate our children. It's time for parents to start paying closer attention to what their kids are being taught in school. We can't trust the liberal education system to provide a fair and balanced education. It's up to us to make sure our children are learning the right things. So let's all take a moment to appreciate the absurdity of this situation. I mean, comparing politics to race and gender. What's next? Comparing Republicans to dogs and Democrats to cats. We can all see how ridiculous that is, and it's time for the education system to stop playing these games with our kids. In conclusion, it's important for us to remain vigilant and continue to call out the liberal agenda when we see it. Our children's education is too important to be taken lightly. We need to demand better from our schools and our elected officials. So there you have it, folks, the latest news and updates from me, Mark Warsh. I hope this show has been entertaining and educational. It's not easy to stay informed in these trying times, but if we all work together, we can make sure our voices are heard. Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again soon. If you like what you hear here on the Mark Warsh Show, come join me on social media, where I post even more great content. Until next time, folks, stay informed and stay free.